Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shabbat. Shabbat Shabbat Shalom. This is yours. Shabbat. Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom and welcome to our first family service that we've had in a while. But we had a wonderful Tot Shabbat with a lot of people, and we're so glad those of you who are joining us either from the comfort, hopefully, of your air-conditioned home or here tonight with us. We wish you Shabbat Shalom. Just a reminder that the first Friday of the month, we start with Tot Shabbat at 5:30. We have a lovely oneg in the middle, and then that's followed by a family service that you can see it starts at 6:30. So I'm very lucky to be joined tonight by Ari and Ava Margalit, and Amelia Kim and Hannah Prophet, some of our Torah school kids, and they're going to be helping lead this service tonight. So we will start on page 10 with Hine Matov. Okay. And you can turn if you want to. Here's the doors. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matov Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. Hine Matovu Manayim Shevet Achim Gam Yachad. How good and how pleasant it is that brothers and sisters dwell together. And so now we will light the Shabbat candles, and we're turning back to page 3. So Amelia, if you want to turn to page 3, honey, and bring your siddur, and then you can put your siddurs on your chairs. Amelia will bring hers, and then you can come up here to help light the candles with us.
Page 3.
Okay, here, I've got mine open, honey. Come use mine. Okay. Let's go ahead and light. Okay, come join. Hannah, you want to come join? Okay, so first you're going to read.
Wait, this before I like
Okay, let's come here first. Come stand over here. I don't. A lot of moving parts. Bear with us. Okay.
As these Shabbat candles give light to who all behold them, so many we by our lives give light to all who behold us. As their brightness reminds us of generations of Israel who have kindled light for light, so may we in our own day be among those who kindle light.
Okay, we can stand here. Good job. Okay, let's gather the light. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kiddushanu b'mitzvotav Vitzivanu lahadlik ner shel Shabbat. Amen. Thank you. Good job. All right, then you can sit back down. All right. And we'll continue on page 6 with May the Door. And Amelia and Hannah, you're going to come read this part. Okay. Come stand here next to the microphone, sweetheart. So you're going to write page 6. Yeah, May the Door. So you'll read these 2 lines, and Hannah's going to read these 2 lines. Okay. Okay, so here, Hannah, you get over here too.
May the door of this synagogue be wide enough to receive all of hunger for love, all who are lonely and lonely for friendship.
And go ahead, keep reading down to here. Then we'll have, so we don't have to move the microphone.
May it welcome to all who have cares to urban thanks, unburden thanks to express hopes to nature. May the door of this synagogue be narrow enough to shut out pettiness and pride, envy and enmity.
May the door of this may its threshold be no stumbling block to young or straying feet. It may be too high to admit complacency, selfishness, and harshness. May this synagogue be, for all who enter, a doorway to a richer and more meaningful life.
Both of you. I just have to say that we do this without any opportunity to rehearse or practice, so they're doing an amazing job. Amazing. So we will continue on page 12 with Lehunara. Sing out. We don't have Cindy tonight. Lehuneranena, lehuneranena, lehuneranena ladonai. Lehuneranena, lehuneranena, lehuneranena ladonai. Naria, naria, letsur yishenu, naked mafarabida. Naria, naria, leshurni shenu, bizmiro naria lo. Lehuneranena, lehuneranena, lehuneranena ladonai. Lehuneranena, lehuneranena, lehuneranena ladonai. And turning, or just on the facing page, we'll sing Shir Ladonai. And again, I always just like to remind us that if you want to flip back to page 344, you will be ready for the English part when we get there. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. Sing unto God all the earth a new song. I will sing unto God a new song. Sing unto God and we'll all sing along. All the earth a new song unto God. Shiru Ladonai, Shir Chadash, Shiru Ladonai, Kol Haaretz. And as part of our call to worship tonight, we're very fortunate in that we have a Baal shofar in the house. And so I would like to call Joel Chesler up, and he will call us to worship before the kids open the ark and lead us in the Baruch.
In other words,
I'm not going to do the taquino no.
you want all.
Yes, that would be
Everything?
lovely.
Okay.
Thank you. Thank you, Joel, very much. All right, Jacob, this is when we need you. And Ava, if you could please open the ark for us. Okay. Good job.
Can I get the tour?
The little Taurus, sure. Okay, we're going to open up the curtain, and we're going to ask people, please rise if you haven't. Which one do you want? Yeah. Okay, and come join me. Okay. And we're on page 28. Okay, Ava and Ari, we stand up and we face the ark. Okay, good. Now we say, not yet. Baruch hu et Adonai hamavorach. Baruch Adonai hamavorach leolam vayed. Okay, we'll leave, and you may be seated. And Jacob, will leave it open for right now, but I'll call you up when it's time to close it. You can help us close it. Thank you. All right. Turning to page 33, Hannah is going to read Wisdom and Wonder. Come over here by the microphone, sweetheart. Okay, it's right here.
Okay, the whole thing.
Uh-huh.
Passion and instruction, story and symbol. All these things your Torah gives to us. And the more we devote ourselves to it, the more it grows and gives. What a true token of your obeying love than the holiest of your works and living in the living language that gives it form.
Baruch atah Adonai, Elohei Amo Yisrael. And when Cantor Shira was with us last weekend, she worked with the kids on the Shema. So, Ari, will you come help me lead the Shema? Do you remember how we do it? What do we do with our hands? Do we do this? Remember how we cover our eyes? Okay. Do you remember what did she tell us? Why we cover our eyes? What happens when we can't see? Are we more aware of things?
Because when we can't see, that means we're going to bump into something.
Yeah, we're more aware. So please join us in the Shema. Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Can I go to the bathroom?
Baruch Shem, Kevod Malchuto, Leolam Vaed. And Amelia will read the V'ahavta in English on page 36. Okay, so again, look over here so people can hear you, honey. Okay, so right here.
Love your God with every heartbeat, with every breath, with every conscious act. Keep in mind your words I command you today. Teach them to your children. Talk about them at work, whether you are tired, whether you are rested. Let them guide the work of your hands. Keep them in forefront of your vision. Do not leave them at the doorway of your house or outside the gate. They are reminders to do all of my mitzvot, so that you can be holy for God. I am Adonai your God. I led you out of Egypt to become your God. I am Adonai your God.
Excellent. Thank you. Beautiful. That will take us to Vishamru, so please stand. Oh, excuse me, thank you. My assistant, page 44. We're on page 44. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat ladoretam barit olam. Vishamru b'nei Yisrael ha-Shabbat lasod et ha-Shabbat ladoretam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim asa Adonai et hashamayim v'yet haaretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasod et hashabat ladoretam barit olam. Ki sheshet yamim. We are Adonai, et hashamayim v'yet haaretz vishamru b'nei Yisrael et hashabat lasod et hashabat ladoretam barit olam. And be seated, and Hannah will be reading on page 43, Let There Be Love.
Let there be love and understanding among us. Let peace and friendship be our shelter from life's storms. Adonai, help us to walk with God, with good compassions, to live with hope in our hearts, and integrity in our thoughts, that we may lie down in peace and rise up, waiting to do your will.
Sukkot Shalom Aleinu ve'achol Amo Yisrael ve'al Yerushalayim. Thank you, Hannah. Beautiful. All right. This brings us to our standing prayer, which begins on page 48. And I would just especially remind the young people in the house, this is our opportunity, so we're all going to stand up and we face the ark. And we can just think about the week that we had, or we can thank God, or we can talk to God about anything that we want to talk to God about. So we all stand up and we face the ark. Okay. And continue through page 62, and please be seated when you're finished with your prayer. This week's Torah portion is Shoftim, and it includes laws regarding both sacred and secular legislation. The Israelites are told that in everyday dealing they should pursue justice in order to merit the land that God is giving them. Also in it, it talks about laws to be followed during times of peace and times of war. This is from the URJ website. When in war against a city, you have to besiege it a long time in order to capture it. You must not destroy its trees, wielding the axe against them. You may eat of them, but you must not cut them down. This verse is one of the guidelines given in the Torah for conducting war. It is also the basis for the mitzvah, or the commandment, known as Bal Tashit, which commands us not to be wasteful or destructive. According to the biblical commentator, Rashi, trees do not have the ability to protect themselves when they are in the path of war. We are to have compassion for whatever God has created, and therefore we are commanded not to destroy God's creation, and in this case, trees. So the girls and I would like to share a story with you tonight that is actually a true story. It's become a folk tale in India, and we want to make sure to teach the lesson the importance of trees and to not destroy trees. So Ava is our tree. Okay, remember what you're going to do? And Ari is our main character, and Amelia and Hannah are going to help me narrate. So this is adapted from Amitra's Trees. Amrita, Amitra leaned back against her favorite tree and rested. After the glare of the desert sun, it was cool and green in the forest grove. Sometimes Amitra climbed her tree. Sometimes the wind swayed her and she was a forest queen. Sometimes she talked to her tree, sharing her dreams and her secrets. But today was so peaceful, she sat in silence.
I love you, tree.
Caw! Amitra heard a loud shriek, the shrill alarm call of the peacock. Echoing through the forest, a shiver shot down Amritra's spine, and she scrambled to her feet. All the animals went running, and Amitra could hear the sound of many heavy boots, and she saw men carrying axes. "Cut down every tree you can," she heard the chief woodcutter say. "The Maharaja needs plenty of wood." Amrita thought, "Oh no, they couldn't cut down the forest. Without these trees, there'd be no fruit to eat, no leaves to feed the cows, no shelter from the sun." And she said to her tree, "I won't let them hurt you."
I will let them hurt you.
Okay, Amelia, your part.
Amrita ran to her village and found her mother. She told her what she had seen. Amrita's mother rushed around the village, calling all the women away from their work. "We must save the trees," she urged. "Come on." All the men of the village were working on the fields, so all the women rushed out to the forest. Amrita's mother greeted the men politely, pressing her hands together and bowing her head. "We do not want trouble, but we cannot let you cut down these trees." The chief woodcutter cast his eyes over the women and snorted. You do not own these trees. We have orders from Amrita."
The Maharaja.
Amram Hazaja.
Good enough.
I forgot
Sir?
where I am. Sir, these trees are our life, Amrita's mother begged. "Their roots hold the soil together. They keep the land from sliding away during monsoon rains. Without them, our fields and homes will wash away." "Never mind your mud hut," the chief replied, with a sweep of his hands. With this timber, the Maharaja will have the finest palace in India."
get out of our way. He turned to the woodcutters and ordered, cut down the trees. A burly woodcutter shouldered his axe and strolled over to an ancient tree. With a swift swoop, his iron blade bit deep into the bark. With a terrible groan, the mighty tree came crashing to the ground. Amrita's mother covered her mouth with her hands. Amrita stared in disbelief. The woodcutters began to chop at another tree, and another. Soon the grove was covered in fallen trees. Broken limbs scattered the floor. Leaves dropped like tears. A woodcutter brushed past Amrita towards her own special tree.
No, please don't cut down my tree.
The woodcutter moved forward. Amrita stepped in front of him, blocking his path. Her voice shook as she spoke.
I will not let anything harm my tree.
The woodcutter laughed out loud. Little girl, there's nothing you can do to stop us. Amrita ran from the woodcutter toward her tree. Amrita flung her arms around her tree, pressing herself against it.
If you want to cut my tree, you'll have to cut me first.
So, Amelia.
What is that? Okay. The man and his axe were behind her. She could hear the sound of her own breathing, hard and fast. The man raised his sharp blades. Swing your axe, commanded the chief. Amrita clenched her teeth and clung to her old friend, so that the bumpy bark was pressing into her chest and arms. She felt that the strength of the tree, and she knew that she was doing the right thing. Swing your axe, the chief shouted again. The woodcutter faltered. He looked down at the girl. This mere sapling of a girl, her eyes squeezed shut, her thin arms hugging so tight, her tear-stained cheeks pale with fright. I cannot. Keep going. Amrita opened one eye, then another to see the woodcutter's head bowed, his axe at his feet. All around her, people were hugging trees, women, children, wives and daughters, grandmothers and toddlers, all hugged trees. Some ancient trees and trunks were so thick, and generations of women joined hands to hug them.
The axes lay on the forest floor. The men huddled together and talked in low voices. Then, without a word, they picked up their axes and walked out of the woods. Amrita's mother said, Amrita, what were you thinking? I was so afraid. So was I, said Amrita. Amrita's mother said, you know the woodcutters will tell the Maharaja what happened, she said gently. They will come back, or the Maharaja himself will come. The next afternoon, in a thunder of hooves and a cloud of dust, the Maharaja arrived. The women joined hands and pulled their children close, but Amrita rose to greet the Maharaja with all the dignity of a forest queen. She was surprised to see that he carried not an axe, but a bright bundle. He climbed down from his horse. Amrita watched in wonder as he unwrapped the silken cloth. I present this royal decree to you, Amrita, said the Maharaj, and to the women of your village, in honor of your courage and your wisdom. I promise that from this day forward, no tree in the forest will ever be cut down. Hundreds of years later, folk songs of the people who hug the trees still echo through the villages of India. Amrita's courage has inspired people across the land to stand together to protect forests. Thousands of trees have been saved, and 1 million more have been planted. And in one sacred grove, Amrita's tree still grows. Shabbat Shalom. And now we'll just finish, so you can go back to your seats. Good, and we'll continue. If you want to put your place here, you can. And this brings us to words for healing. You'll find the words for the Mishaberach on page 253. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bless these members of our community. Linda Baker, Catherine Adele Celentano, Robin Cohen, Marty Glenn, David Hayes, Diana Heller, Allison Herson, Rob Hirsch, Panina Kolakant, Barbara Kurtzman, Kit Levine, Sharon Maslow, Rick Moss, Dave Podolsky, Anastasia Rolalemos, Margaret Schmidt, Elliot Schwartz, Cheryl Shelleb, John Sitters, Melanie Spielman, Aaron Steck. And if you have a name that we haven't said that you'd like us to hold in our hearts and prayers tonight, please feel free to say it out loud. Send them all comfort and relief speedily in our days, and grant them a complete healing of body, mind, and spirit. Blessed are you, source of life, who helps us to bring light where there is darkness and healing where there is brokenness. And join me. Mishaberach avotenu mechor habraha Lemotenu. May the source of strength, who blessed the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say, Amen. Mishaberach imotenu Mechor habraha leavotenu. Bless those in need of healing with refuah shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say, Amen. This week we have some birthdays. Nakshon, happy birthday on Sunday. You share a birthday with Luana Aladef. Aria Freitas celebrates on Monday, and Barbara Solish on Thursday. We don't have any anniversaries this week. Our student rabbi, Paige Beam, will be with us next weekend. There's lots of opportunities to come and meet her. So she will be leading services Friday night. Saturday, we'll be doing bagels and learning. Please contact our administrative assistant to find out where. Saturday night, we'll have Jews and Schmooze, which is an opportunity to socialize and learn a little more, and have another opportunity to visit with Paige. And again, contact our administrative assistant to get the details and the location of that. And Sunday is the first day of our Torah school. So our Torah school kids will be joining back together, and Paige will be here to welcome them. So we're very excited to have the opportunity to get to work with her. The newsletter came out yesterday. It's chock full of lots of wonderful information about events coming up, the schedule of our high holiday services. So please refer to that so that you'll be informed about all the great things that we're doing coming up. We will continue with the Aleinu, so if I could ask you to please rise. We will begin on page 282. Aleinu leshaberek ladon hakol Latet Gedula, let's celebrate. Shelo asanu ke haratzot, velo samanu, mishpehot adama. Shelo sam halkenu kahem, vegor aleinu kehanam. Vanaknu korim, umishtahavim modim, lifne melech malchei hamlachim, hakadosh baruch hu. Turning the page at the top. Shehu note shamayim beyosed aretz. Kamo shamayim imo. Ushinat huzo, begov he meromim, Eloheinu einot, emet malkeinu efesulato, kakatu betorato, beyayom, behashevota, elevavecha. Ki Adonai hu halim b'shamayim ima'al ve'aharetz mitahat einod. 287 in the middle. V'nermar haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu Yeh Adonai echad, Ushemo echad. Okay, Jacob, this is where I need your help again. Are we ready to put the Torahs in the ark? And Ava, good. We won't open it all the way, sweetie. We'll just put the Torahs in there. Perfect. And then we need to close the doors. Jacob, why don't you do, you want to do that one? Maybe you can do this one. Okay, watch fingers. There you go. Big push. Good job, thank you. And you may be seated. Momentarily. I'll ask you to rise again in just a moment. We think of our loved ones whom death has recently taken from us, those who died at this season in years past, and those whom we have drawn into our hearts with our own. May their memories be for a blessing. This Shabbat we remember Arthur Parvey, uncle of Alfred Solish, Sandra Candy Mandel, sister of Jane Sachs, Frances Michelson, aunt of Beryl Levine, Sheila Taylor of blessed memory, Sarah Terrence, grandmother of Allison Herson, Marvin Zucker, father of Jeff Zucker, Melvin Pollock, father of Rabbi Janice Meering. And we remember Carl Spielman, father of Larry Spielman, who passed away this week. We take into our hearts all those who have no one to say Kaddish for them. And please rise and join me in the Mourner's Kaddish, which you'll find on page 294. Yit Gadal, V'yit Kadash, Shemei Rabbah, V'alma Divrach Hirute, V'almik Malhute, B'hayehom Uvyomehon, Uvhaye Dekol Beit Yisrael, Bagala Uvizman Kariv Vimaru Amen. Yehesh Me Rabbah Mevorach, Leolam Olmei Almaya. Yit Barak, V'yishtabak, V'yit Abar, V'yit Naman, V'yit Naseh. V'yit Hadar, V'yit Taleh, V'yit Halal, Shemei Dekudashah, Brihu. Leolam Hinkol Birhata, V'shirata, Tush Bahata, V'nehalmata, Damiram Bialma, Vimaru Amen. Yehesh Lama Rabba Min Shemaya, V'hayim Aleinu Ve'akol Yisrael, Vimaru Amen. Oseh Shalom Bimramav, hu yaseh shalom, aleinu ve'al Yisrael, v'imru, amen. And be seated. And we'll end tonight. Hannah and Amelia are going to share a poem about a tree. So you can put yours indoors, yeah. Okay. Okay, we'll come over here, kiddos. Where's the mic?
I'm green again.
You're green again.
Okay. Friendly Tree, This Is Your Day by Annette
Annette Wynn.
Friendly tree, this is your day, so we'll stop our work and our play and talk of you and all the things that you do.
Standing still and quiet there, sending branches into air, making pleasant shade around, delving far beneath the ground, holding all yours safe from harm, little nest within your arm, keeping firmly where you are.
Reaching up to touch a star, growing, working just as I, seeking God within the sky.
Shabbat shalom, and thank you so much for joining us tonight.